I don't like the NBA. Bleh, the ratings, bleh. They need to fix the league, me. Why do you even like basketball?
Because I do. I just do, okay? I'd love the NBA if it was played exclusively by genetic clones of Saddam Hussein. After hearing about and seeing all the things wrong with the NBA in the regular season, it's been so immensely satisfying how electric and entertaining this postseason has been. It's got me thinking about all the things that are awesome about basketball, and I keep thinking about one guy in particular who has become a kind of cure for all of the perceived ails of the game today, Anthony Edwards. And listen, I know that the Timberwolves season is probably going to end soon. They've run into the buzzsaw that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that's okay. It doesn't change the fact that Edwards has been awesome, or that he has the best quality you can have in sports. He's real. There's probably a guy out there who's a real piece of work. We'll call this guy Colin. And Colin has some thoughts about how basketball needs fixing, almost all of which are solved by the Ant-Man.
These guys are all friends, Colin thinks. They're too buddy-buddy.
Nope, not Edwards. There's a reason he's drawn comparisons to a young Michael Jordan, not just for the athleticism and the physical resemblance. This dude takes assignments personally. He's not John Stockton defensively, but he's a plus defender on most nights and a bulldog when he locks in. The T-Wolves are already a defensive juggernaut as a unit, and when Edwards gets riled up, when he's clapping and yelling, he can lock you down, and he will let you know about it. Last year, he was in Kevin Durant's ass, letting him know about it, and that's Edwards' favorite player. This year, he was jamming LeBron like a cornerback trying to throw off a release, and still says that if he wins a ring quickly, he's going to try to play in the NFL to prove them wrong too. It's Edwards versus the world. It is not in his DNA to play nice. And we know, because that stuff's not exactly in short supply.
But everybody plays the same now, Colin stutters. Everything's about analytics.
Nah. At the risk of sounding like the whitest person alive, which I am, Anthony Edwards is nice with it. There's an energy and a ferocity and an intent to make a fool out of you that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. Sure, there's a stat for dunks, but where's the stat for dunks that are so vicious they make you make a face? Or that make a defender think twice about rotating over to contest a shot because they don't want to be embarrassed? Yeah, they keep track of threes, but I have yet to see someone keep track of those FU threes that Bird pioneered and that Steph patented. The one that punctuates a run so hard, the other team has to call a timeout. The one that blows the lid off of home games and silences away crowds. Analytics. Now, cover your ears for this part, Colin. Skip ahead in the video if you have to. Just because Ant might not give two shits about his stats, doesn't mean he doesn't play in an efficient way. He averaged a career high in points, and kind of out of nowhere, led the league in made three-pointers on nearly 40% shooting from deep. That might worry someone like Colin, who might think that now this guy is just jacking up threes like the rest of the league. And it's true that for the first time in his career, less than half of his field goal attempts came in the form of two-pointers. But that doesn't mean he's not still aggressive. His free throw attempts were virtually identical to a year ago, and his drives have only marginally decreased. Last year, he was 12th in the league in drives per game. This year, he's 16th. Still, way up there in the upper echelon of players. He's not doing quite as much damage inside compared to last year, down on the number of dunks and the percentage of his field goals that come at the basket, but the lethality of his three ball means that his efficiency has never been higher. In addition to his scoring, this year saw him hit career highs in effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, win shares, value over replacement, and PER. He has a ways to go before he's an analytics darling, but his numbers are heading in the right direction in that respect. And if you feel confidently that the playoff run he and the Timberwolves are on can go all the way, you can do something about it with the sponsor of this video, Kalshi. Do you think Taylor Swift is going to have a #1 single this year? Or do you feel pretty sure that the new season of The Witcher is going to suck? Kalshi is the first and only federally regulated prediction market in the US. With it, you can trade on whether events will or won't happen, from sports, movies, music, pop culture, even the weather, through their new CFTC-approved financial product, Event Contracts. I think one of the coolest things about the platform is that you can use it to track sentiment. Like, before Game 1, I checked out the series between New York and Indiana, and even though I was pleasantly surprised to see it around a 60-40 split for New York, I still thought that Indiana wasn't getting as much love as they deserved. Kalshi is legal in all 50 states and also live on Robinhood if you're looking to try it out. They're offering $10 to anyone who signs up using my link, callsheet.com/Crowley, and trades $100. That's callsheet.com/Crowley. Check it out before the season ends and prove that you're a certified ball knower. Anyway, you were saying, Colin? Yeah, okay, Colin pants. But these guys are also boring. They're too media trained, too manicured. They play it too safe. Fuck that. If there's one thing that Anthony Edwards isn't, it is media trained. If there's one thing he doesn't do, it is play safe. You know what I mean? One of the best things about Ant is his uncompromising authenticity. The dude has no chill and no lack of confidence. Anyone can get it, including fans. During the Olympics, when Barack Obama was trying to give Edwards some light ribbing, Edwards shut it down.
So hold on. Huh? Don't talk. We ain't gonna do all that.
Look, I'm not saying the guy's a role model, all right? The rumor around town is that he tried to pay over $1 million in prospective child support in one lump sum. And it is not the first incident of this nature that the young man has found himself in. The guy is out there spreading so much seed, he ought to be the spokesman of Arbor Day. The day he gets a vasectomy, Adam Silver might be so relieved he'll grow his hair back. Again, I'm not saying that everything about the guy is exemplary or that having a messy personal life is a good thing. Edwards is no saint, but if one of your complaints is that the stars have gotten too sanitized, here is a guy who gets nasty. Whatever, Colin screams, tears streaming down his bright red cheeks. How am I supposed to care if the league doesn't have a guy? Colin, bubby, listen, the league has a guy. He's 7 feet tall, he's Serbian, he's still kinda doughy, and he was drafted during a Quesarito commercial. But if you can't connect with him for whatever reason, because he isn't American, or because he doesn't talk as much, or because you hate fun, I'd submit to you that Anthony Edwards has a perfectly good chance to be the next face of the league. Yeah, I don't really care to convince you that he should be the face of the league. It's a tired, played-out topic, and I don't think that being born outside the US should disqualify you as being the face of the NBA. This is mostly just a catch-all to give me a place to talk about how Anthony Edwards has almost every quality you could want out of a superstar. He seems like a really wonderful teammate. His joy in their success seems completely genuine, and his confidence in them is unimpeachable. It seems like he loves that Julius Randle is having a moment in the playoffs, and I don't know that anyone was more excited about the Go Bear game than Edwards. It may change with time or success, but today, there isn't an ounce of being bigger than the team or too good for anything. It was a weird regular season for Minnesota with injuries galore and imperfect roster construction. But they rounded into shape going down the stretch. They went 15-5 in their last 20 regular season games and posted the 4th best net rating in the league in that frame. That momentum carried into the playoffs. But by the numbers, this is not Ant's most impressive postseason run. Nearly all of his box and efficiency figures were better at this point last year. And yet, the Wolves are a serious, bona fide, legitimate championship contender. Why? Because the team is just better right now than it was last year. They're deep, young, athletic, hungry, and littered with knockdown shooters. They don't need Ant to put on the cape as much, because he trusts them to get the job done. And that's a development that I don't think can go overlooked. Yes, the team is better, more cohesive, and multiple players are having career postseasons. But a young superstar making the transition from I'm gonna do everything to I'm gonna let the game come to me because I trust my guys is a leap that other young, elite, high usage rate guys normally have trouble with. It took Kobe and Mike years to get to that point. Anthony Edwards is doing it in year 5. His playmaking has noticeably improved along with his willingness to cede touches to hot-handed teammates, developments that should shiver the timbers of prospective opponents. And still, when the moment calls, Edwards answers loudly. In their 3-point win against the Lakers to go up 3-1, he dropped 43 points on 70% true shooting. To close out the Warriors, he dished out a career-high 12 assists and had one of the louder 16-point second halves I've seen. Minnesota needed those points to kill Golden State's mini runs and comeback attempts, and Edwards provided them at just the right times over and over. Like I said, this probably isn't necessarily the team you'd build around Edwards from scratch, but they've been playing fantastic as of late, and if it ends up not being the right team, those things can change on a dime in the NBA. He's only 23. The clock that will count the days he doesn't have a championship has not yet begun to tick. and there's a chance it may never. He can be the best player on the court in any game against anyone. In just these last 2 years, he's led the Timberwolves to more series wins than the rest of the franchise's history combined, by beating Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. Teams should know by now, come playoff time, there is a demon lurking in the West. He has defeated kings, toppled champions, and defied dynasties. If Edwards can continue his trajectory and development, which he's already way ahead of the curve on, this yearly ritual of knocking out royalty is going to start ending with the crown on his head. Deciding which of his weapons to pull out, when to make his moves, and how to balance his expanding game and responsibilities will be the things that separate him and take him to that last level of superstardom. The master of the chessboard, thinking the game through, 5 steps ahead with feints, attacks, counters, and counters to those counters. There is still a level for Edwards to climb, and if following someone on their way to the top is what really hooks you, maybe Anthony Edwards really is your guy. Winning solves everything. It is the panacea of sports. Maybe if Edwards weren't this good, and the T-Wolves hadn't gotten this far, it would be a different story. Maybe his confidence would come off as arrogance. Maybe his shit-talking would sound hollow. Maybe some of his rough edges wouldn't be so easily dismissed. But the Wolves did get this far, and Edwards is that good. So what's not to like?